Well, if it isn't 2025, let's see what films are coming out this year. Hello guys and welcome back to Unpack Productions. 2024 is over and with it a lot of really good films, but we'll go through that in a different video. Today, let's have a look at what films we should be looking out for in 2025. In March, we have Mickey 17 coming out.
Why aren't you dead? Multiples.
Now, the first 15 seconds of that trailer already told me that I'm most likely gonna like this film. It's got great music choice, dry humor, and a quite dark, strange, odd story. Now, films that have a dark story and manage to pull it off with humor are pretty rare to find. And that's just because if you have a dark story and want to bring it across with humor, you run the risk of either kind of losing the edge, the darkness of that film and having too much humor and then it becomes a comedy, or you have too much darkness, it's too edgy, and the comedy just kind of feels out of place in the film. For example, you have the film Jojo Rabbit, which is a film I absolutely love because it managed to do exactly that.
Got it! I've
Burn down
negotiated.
the house and blame Winston Churchill. Or negotiate.
It has a pretty dark story. I mean, it plays in the Second World War from the perspective of a kid who is part of the H-Jugend, so the youngsters and teens and youth who were indoctrinated and taught a certain way of life and thinking in that time. So it's a quite dark story and there's a few scenes in there, or definitely one scene that will pull on your heartstrings a bit. But it adds these humorous parts in such a beautiful way that it doesn't take away from the edginess of the story, that it doesn't take away from the impact and from the heaviness of the story, but it combines so beautifully that it really feels like you are actually following this kid around through a few days of his life. It's a really good film, so go check it out if you haven't watched it yet. My hopes are that Mickey 17 achieves just that, but it is quite difficult. Let's see how it goes. To be fair, in the trailer, what I really enjoyed, first of all, the music choice was great. Second of all, the humor kind of reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean. It's got this very kind of Jack Sparrow kind of humor, so I'm excited to see that. My only worry at the moment is the use of CGI. Now, CGI obviously is being used in pretty much any film these days. Not any film, but a lot of films these days. I'm just slightly worried that it might be overused, possibly, but hey, it could go really well. It could go really well. I'm just aware that we had a few films not too long ago where the CGI was pretty terrible. So that's my slight worry. Especially if you compare that like 10-15 years ago, Pirates of the Caribbean, the CGI was crisp, was sharp, was really, really good, and then we somehow, for whatever reason, went down a slightly kind of downhill slope in terms of quality of CGI. With not all the films, but some films. So that is my only worry, but apart from that, I'm very excited to see this film. So we had March 2025, let's go over to April. We have, for example, a Minecraft movie coming out.
I am Steve.
Okay.
I don't really know what to think. I've watched the trailer a few times now, and the only thought in my mind at the moment is this looks pretty cringe. But hey, that could be in a good way, or at least in a memorable way. If you look around, there's a bunch of films that are just plain bonkers, crazy, but people love them. Like Hangover. Yeah, it's got a fun story, but in general, it's just a crazy few films, but people love them and they're kind of part of culture now. Same with Monty Python films. I personally love them. They are so weird, but in a fun way.
3 shall be the number thou shalt count, and the number of the counting shall be 3.
And then you have like stuff like Anchorman, which again I absolutely love.
I don't know what we're yelling about! Loud noises!
Well, it's kind of weird. It's like they just went for it. Like no boundaries, just go for it, have fun, just be crazy. And it worked, people loved it. So this film could do just that. Seeing Jason Momoa in the outfit that he has on and the way he looks in the film did. I don't really know what to think and how to react to that. It's very odd seeing this super muscular and like a mountain of a man kind of guy looking like that. So I'm excited to see how this goes.
Hola.
That thing doesn't understand a word you're saying.
We're talking.
Will Minecraft be just one of those films that is just plain bonkers but people will love, or will it be weird and that's it? I don't know. To be fair, hearing the Minecraft theme music kind of brings up some memories which are nice. There's a bit of excitement there, but with that excitement, a lot of worry. And then, as I said, seeing Jason Momoa in that costume is odd. Very odd. To be fair though, there were a few moments in the trailer that did make me laugh, and probably because I played Minecraft before. I mean, I've been through those days, so there's some jokes in there that are kind of insider jokes, I would almost say, or jokes that make especially sense when you've played the games before, so they did make me chuckle. I don't know, this film could be a memorable kind of funny. Let's wait and see. Next up, and that's the complete polar opposite from Minecraft movie, we have The Resurrection of Christ. Now, I know, if you're not Christian, this film might not really be on your radar at all. But considering Passion of the Christ was a big hit, even with people who don't believe. And yes, it helps if you believe, obviously, but if you don't, people still love that film because it was so impactful. And I mean, the story is still one of the greatest stories ever heard. So I am really looking forward for part 2. Let's see how it goes. If it's half as good as The Passion of the Christ, I'm quite sure it's gonna do really well. The next film for April 2025, and there might be a few more, but I've just picked some, is The Accountant Part 2.
What are you doing?
Waiting for you to finish.
So you can
Do what I need to do.
Now, personally, I am slightly surprised that we're seeing a part 2 for The Accountant, because I've watched the first one, and don't get me wrong, it's a good film. Like, it kind of went under the radar, but it was a good film. I just wasn't too sure if it's a film that we would see a part 2 for. However, I am somewhat looking forward to see how this goes, because I think that Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal could be a quite interesting chemistry to see on screen. And if the story is as good as the first one was, we actually could be in for a treat with a somewhat underdog kind of film. Let's go to May 2025, and the first one is Thunderbolts.
There are bad guys, and there are worse guys, and nothing else. Look at you. So adorable.
Now look, I love Marvel, but recently their films have been a bit meh. Actually, quite a lot meh. Not as good as I think they should have been. I personally think that Deadpool and Wolverine was awesome, but that might just be because I love the kind of crazy, stupid humor that Ryan Reynolds brings along with Deadpool, and then the fun chemistry that we have between Deadpool and Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go yourself.
The rating for the film wasn't that great, which surprises me, but hey, to each his own, I guess. Then we have, well, Madam Web, we're not even gonna talk about it. I think you know how I think about that film. Venom was okay-ish. I think that the first film was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it, but from then it did kind of go downhill a bit. And Craven I haven't watched yet, but looking at the ratings, I am not hopeful at all. Marvel is due a great film. Like, it has been too long. Like, I think the last big hit that Marvel had was the last Spider-Man, right? Especially for Marvel geeks, that was amazing. So they are due a great hit of a film. But is it gonna happen with that group of characters? I don't know. Now, the characters themselves aren't terrible, like, not at all. The thing is, they're all side characters, really. But it might be just exactly what Marvel needs. A film that is purely based on a good story, with no bias or big Marvel MCU characters where you already know kind of how the story has to go, because they are, like, if you think of Marvel, you think of those characters. So with those side characters, you have a bit more freedom story-wise, Let's see how much they focus on the comics or not. We'll see that then. But they will have a bit more freedom. So we might see a film with a good story that just acts and helps to advance and progress the MCU storyline, and then ultimately helps out the whole MCU and the Marvel films. So it could be, and I hope it is because they need it could be a really good film. Let's wait and see. Another one for May, and I am really excited for this one, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Our lives are the sum of our choices.
How long can he go for? Well, looking at Tom, it feels like he only just recently started making the Mission Impossible films. However, this feels like it might really be the final reckoning. This might be the end of, in my opinion, a brilliant film series. And believe me when I tell you that I am somewhat sad that this might be coming to an end, because I grew up with those films.
I need you to trust me. One last time.
Believe you me, Tom, I will. Let's hope that this film brings the deserved epic conclusion to the film series. June 2025, Ballerina.
How do I start doing what you do?
Looks like you already have.
Guys, put Ana de Armas in any film and you have me intrigued at least. Films of this kind, so side character films, tend to not always do as well as one would hope they do. And a lot of times they are a bit of a letdown. However, John Wick films have held up a pretty good standard of quality throughout the years. So this might just be another good John Wick universe film. And yes, having Anna play in the film does help. Of course it does. I mean, come on guys, let's be honest here. No matter how this film turns out, one thing that I'm sure of is that we'll have a lot of really cool, epic action scenes in the film. And they are gonna be fun to watch.
It's okay. I won't hurt you.
How to Train Your Dragon, live action. Now this is a random addition to the list, but we need something for the whole family, right? The animation was great. It was a film with humor, with a bit of action and just a lot of heart. So a really good film for the family and for the young ones. But the main reason I'm adding this film to the list is one concern that I have. Are we running out of film ideas? Because recently we are having more and more live action remakes of films that have done well in the past. Now, I'm not against it necessarily, but I do think, are they running out of ideas? Are they running out of stories? Because there's only so much that you can get from one story. There's only so much that you can do. There's only so often you can replay one story. I mean, how often can you squeeze an orange for orange juice until the orange is just dried up and there's nothing coming out anymore? It feels like we are witnessing live how this will go and how often you can squeeze the orange. So yeah, let's see exactly what happens. But hey, let's see this also as an encouragement to all you filmmakers and writers out there. We need your stories. Like Hollywood needs your stories. The big film franchises, the media, need your stories, be it in book form, in film form, videos or audiobooks, whatever. Your stories are needed, and your stories can only be written by you. If you have the dream to share stories, write stories, record it, whatever you want to do, if you have the dream to share your story, go for it. Please take the step because we desperately need it. We need a new input. We need a new wave of ideas and fantasy and imagination. So please go out there, whatever story you have on your heart, in your mind, write it down, do something with it, bring it out into the public eye, because we need you, we need your story.
Don't look at what's in front of you. Boost, moving up and down again.
28 years later. So what will activists do to us now? No, all jokes aside, I have been trying for a long time to watch 28 Days Later, because if you know, with the issues with the rights not too long ago, it was quite difficult to get your hand on the film. But recently, luck turned for me and I got my hands on 28 Days Later and I watched it, and it is different. There's some strange scenes and moments and angles that pop up every now and then in the film, which at first, yeah, just odd. But it gives it this really nice artistic and almost kind of amateur film style of vibe in a good way. Like it's different, as I said. And if I think about technology and the way technology progressed and where we're at now, if they can manage to have the same style of high pace, artistic, almost amateur film like scenes and recording and just a lot of action, this 28 years later could be really, really good. You probably know that they are recording the film, or at least parts of the film, on an iPhone 15. Obviously, that with a lot of lenses and accessories and attachments, so I don't know how much it's gonna count saying that they're recording on an iPhone 15. But still, that fills me with a bit of hope that this film, again, might have this artistic and slightly amateur style vibe to it, which I really enjoyed in 28 Days Later, because it's different. As I said, it is different and we need different. So I'm excited to see this. I think it could be a really, really good film to watch on the big screen. Let's see, it's not too long anymore, and then we can judge for ourselves. F1 movie. I love Formula One. I am a big fan of F1. I've grown up with it as a kid. I'm Italian, so obviously, sorry guys, I support Ferrari. I mean, come on. I am very excited. And I think racing films in general can be really, really good. Watching the last racing season and seeing the film crew pop up every now and then to record different scenes, and thinking that they even hired like Charles Leclerc and George Russell to record separate scenes on an empty track with the stunt drivers, probably. I mean, I'm quite sure that neither Brad Pitt or I forgot the other actor's name drove the F1 car at any point. But hey, that shows me that at least they're trying, or it seems like they're trying to keep the film realistic. And then considering that they have Lewis Hamilton, who's one of the biggest and greatest drivers of all time, and that's just based on pure stats, having him as a consultant on the film, again, fills me with hope that they are trying to be realistic, and then hearing reports of Hamilton costing them more money because there were apparently scenes where he said it's not quite realistic, you have to do it again, and they had to spend more money to have it more realistic, does fill me with hope. 100%. My only fear, and that's my fear with any film that is trying to adapt real life event, real life story, real life sports event, whatever. My only fear is that it becomes too Hollywood, too much show, too, sorry for saying it this way, but too American in the sense that it just gets hyped up way too much and they kind of stray away from what Formula One actually is. Because if you look at it, Formula One can be super, super exciting, can be loads of stuff happening, but it can also at times just be super boring. And you just watch a few drivers drive in circles for a while and nothing really happens. So I hope they find a good balance to it. And from the reports I'm reading so far, it's looking like they're doing a really good job. But yeah, I'm excited to watch this one again on the big screen because I think we'll have some really cool scenes that would look really good on the big screen. Jurassic World Rebirth.
Do we have to get a sample from an egg? I suppose we could try and get it from the parent, but they're a flying carnivore the size of an F-16.
I really enjoy the classics, and even some of the new ones, I enjoyed them, but how much more can you do? How long can you keep going? It's like Fast and the Furious, like how often can you redo the story and how crazy is it gonna get? It makes me think of Tom Hardy's song Jurassic Park 12, It's Dino Time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link the video because I really enjoyed that one. That song pretty much explains the whole writing process for Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. It's like, oh, there's dinosaurs, let's go, let's attack them. Oh no, we shouldn't have attacked them, let's run. And then repeat. But hey, who knows? Who knows how this new one is gonna be? It's probably gonna be along the same lines. And at some point it will come to an end. 2025 apparently isn't quite the end yet. Let's see, it might be the last one, but it feels like they might do another trilogy or something. Let's see how it goes. I think it will still be a fun film to watch.
None of what you just said is good.
Superman. So this is Superman number 11. In terms of the actor, the 11th actor to play Superman. And I am a bit biased because I really like Henry Cavill, so I'm a bit sad that he's gone. But looking at the trailer and some of the pictures and behind the scenes pictures, this David guy looks actually really good. Like, he could actually turn out to be a good Superman. And I have to give them props because they finally managed to have Clark Kent look different to what he looks like as Superman. So finally, they seem to have achieved this Superman with glasses is not Superman look. Because if you look at the scenes, he actually looks fairly different when he just has his Clark Kent outfit and goes to his office job, and then he comes out again as Superman and looks different. So I feel like they finally achieved it. Crypto, and yes, I did definitely have to look up the name of the dog. Seeing him in the trailer is a nice touch, so let's see what role he plays in the film. And then Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult, I think is a really good casting choice. I like Nicholas Hoult, I think he's a bit of an underrated actor. So he could do really well as Lex Luthor. I'm excited to see how his character behaves in this film. Well, the trailer is doing a really good job of going back to this classic Superman, My Planet Needs Me kind of vibe with the music especially. It's really epic. So I am very hopeful that we will get this classic feeling to a new film. The Fantastic Four: First Steps. We were talking about Marvel just earlier, and it does truly feel like they might be turning a corner and they might be bringing out some really good quality films. Pedro Pascal would have probably not been my first choice for Reed Richards, but hey, everybody loves him and I don't blame them for it. So I think he'll do very well. I mean, as he usually does in whatever films or series he's cast in. The Fantastic Four has always been a group I really, really liked.
It's clobbering time! It's catchy, right?
And man, am I excited to finally see them officially joining the MCU. Now, this is a really biased review or preview, that's why I'm gonna keep it very short. But I am super excited to see the Fantastic Four join, and then soon the X-Men as well, the mutants. So finally the MCU is growing and it's adding all its parts to it. And I think, I don't know, I might be massively disappointed, but I am very hopeful that Marvel can finally come back with good films, with a good storyline, with an interesting MCU.
Kill the engine. Wait for instruction. 'Cause I'm in charge.
November 2025. Now You See Me, Part 3. I don't think we have much info on this one yet, but I did really enjoy the first two. It has some great VFX and a pretty intricate story actually, because considering they could have just gone with a very linear, simple story and just have the magic part do all the works, but they didn't do it. So I'm quite happy that they really put in some extra work to have a story with a few twists. The first time I watched part 1, it kind of felt like Ocean's 11 with magic. So I do hope that they can keep this kind of vibe up for the third part as well. Let's see how it goes. There's still a bit of time until it comes out, and when we have an official trailer, I might be doing a video just to react to the trailer. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Alright guys, so this is my list of films to look out for 2025. And there will be probably a few more, and there will be some that you might think I should have added to the list, so sorry if I didn't. But it's quite difficult to have an idea of exactly which films we should be excited for, because a lot of films we don't really have that much info for them yet. But hey, 2025 is shaping up to be a really good year for films, and I'm really looking forward to the first releases. Anyways guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day, evening, morning, whatever time it is where you're at, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.